Days in the Sun. A Journey to the West fanfiction written by Jukebox Draws. Read by Jukebox Draws. Chapter 10. Eternity. King Yama held the coveted soul in his grip, the soul of Sun Wukong, bright and gold and earnest and pure, glowed between his claws. Guanyin descended from the ceiling of stone, her glow standing out against the darkness of the nether world. King Yama of the nether world, Guanyin nodded her head out of respect. I have come for the soul of Sun Wukong. Why have you come for him? We've all been trying to get him into my grasp for years, and now I finally have what I seek. King Yama clutched the glowing soul closer. There is a mortal on earth, Guanyin said. Sun Wukong has finally learned to love another living thing, and I have taken it upon myself to give him another chance at life by the side of this mortal. Sanzang sobbed as he held the limp body of his beloved, stroking the bristled fur on his temples, pressing soft kisses to his face. Come back, he futilely begged. Sanzang felt the hand of Guanyin, though he could not see her. The goddess lowered her head and blew breath back into cold lungs. Wukong's chest rose as life was given back to him, and his eyes opened, glowing golden. Sun Wukong! Guanyin's voice resonated through the entire mountain as Wukong was lifted off the ground. Zanzang reeled back a bit and gazed in awe as the Monkey King emanated an ethereal glow. The golden fillet around his head loosened. He gasped and cried out as the wound on his back was fully healed, though his clothes still remained burned and ripped. Skin that was beginning to pale suddenly regained its warm, peachy color, and the dulling fur once more became bright and regal. You have proven yourself capable of loving another living thing, and earning his love in return. On behalf of the Jade Emperor and Buddha himself, your curse is broken, and your freedom is granted. Wukong was lowered to the ground again, landing on shaky feet and collapsing into his monk's arms. Zanzang lowered Wukong to his knees and sat on the grass with him, holding his face, frantically trying to see those bright golden eyes he had missed so much. Zanzang. Wukong looked up at him. Zanzang began to cry again, his eyes red with already shed tears, and bright with newfound joy and happiness. Oh, Wukong! Zanzang tackled the Monkey King into the grass. They laughed as they rolled on the soft green together. The clouds in the sky parted, and the sun seemed to smile down on the two as they savored the feeling of touching each other again. Zanzang rested his head over the simian's chest again, feeling the soft beating of his newly restarted heart. He smiled wide and closed his eyes, content. Zanzang. Wukong cupped the monk's cheek, black nails skirting over the curve of his face. I never got the chance to tell you. I know, Wukong. Zanzang smiled and let out a soft laugh. Wukong flushed pink and stared up at him a bit, at a loss for words. Suddenly everything he had planned to say went right out the window, and all he could do was sputter idiotically. He stopped short when he felt the monk press their foreheads together again. Zanzang closed his eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of peaches, sand, and dirt that made the monkey's scent his own. Wukong was always a very physical creature, savoring touches and craving contact whenever he went too long without it. This simple act, this touch, to Wukong, held more weight than any words could ever express. He felt it flowing through him, radiating off of the monk like rays from the sun. A profound love, unlike anything humans could ever describe, and the Monkey King certainly didn't care to find out. This was theirs, and theirs alone. Wukong closed his eyes and held the monk's hands tight, savoring the contact. They were finally alone now, the quiet hum of insects and the rushing of waterfalls being the only noises, creating an ambiance of tranquility. They both stayed silent. They didn't need words. They just needed each other. It was perfect, chaste, tender, and soft, both of them just exploring the feeling of each other's skin. This was Wukong's heaven. if he could stay here on this mountain with his monk for all eternity. It ended far too soon for Wukong, but he supposed it couldn't be helped. Looking up at the sight of his monk's smiling face flushed a beautiful pink. Nothing could ever make Wukong happier. Hooting and hollering suddenly shattered the perfect tranquility of their moment together. Wukong noticed his monkeys bouncing up and down, waving their weapons and crying out in joy, both from their victory over the villagers and for their king's newfound life. "You rascals!" Wukong grinned wildly as he stood and chased his subjects playfully down the side of the mountain. Zanzong laughed as he watched the cheerful spark return to his beloved's bouncy movements and untamed smile. He sighed contentedly as he followed the horde of apes down the mountain to the caves. Zanzong and Wukong sat on the king's bed together, furs draped over them as they found solace in each other's embrace. The full moon shone through the window, providing perfect light for the monk to see what he was doing as he ran the comb through Wukong's hair gingerly. He took a bite of the peach that was resting in the nearby fruit bowl as he worked. Wukong smiled wide, his eyes closed. He was completely at peace. Everything was perfect. "Wukong?" Zanzong stroked the simian's hair. Wukong leaned his head back more to see the monk. "Yes?" "I love you." Zanzong felt the need to say it again, after all those times of not being sure, all those instances where he pulled away or flinched. He wanted to be sure his monkey knew. "I love you too," Wukong replied, leaning his head against the monk's chest and letting out a happy chirp. Zanzong smiled and held Wukong close to him, tracing small patterns across the king's back. He made a mental note to explore the expanse of fur and skin more thoroughly at a later date. Perhaps while they were bathing together again. Buddha knew the Monkey King desperately needed another bath. But they would bathe later, Zanzong decided. They had all the time of eternity to do so now, after all. Together. Always together. The end.